except I received this insight about a title called Prisoner of War. The book.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Y'all already know what we're doing for today. We're spreading the positive energy. We're bringing on Kyle. Man, this is a story in and of itself. It was supposed to be Wally Green today, and he told me an incredible story on the reason why he couldn't make it. And he's gonna, when he comes back on, I believe he's coming on next week. He's gonna share that. But Wally is not coming on today, and we have Kyle, who messaged me literally at 12:30 last night to fill in the hole and to have his own space on the Weekly Dose of Dano show for today. So if you guys can please spam all the W's for Kyle or just leave him some words of encouragement, because he really stepped in literally in like the last hour. So Kyle, thank you so much for being here for today and experiencing the Weekly Dose of Dano. And if you already know what we're doing, you guys got to drop the hashtag positivity posse. Yeah, thank you guys. Loving this sweatshirt, loving the new hoodie, loving the sweatshirt. The wardrobe is fire. Y'all already know that I got to provide for you guys. And I actually have a top secret thing that I just can't share just yet with you guys as far as merchandise. And I'm just going to leave it as that. So you guys already beat me to it before I could even talk about it. Drop a hashtag positivity posse so I know that you're rocking with me, so that I know you're rocking with Kyle for today, because this is going to be a great episode. Omar, so nice to see you. Thank you for dropping that hashtag positivity posse. This is going to be a really great episode, because we have somebody here that knows about, the law of attraction. It's kind of like spirituality and the stuff that we talk about, from week to week, and we put our own little twist on it. Don't get it twisted. We put our own spin on it, but I can tell that this was meant to be. I mean, 12:30 literally at night, and he's actually from Australia as well. So I believe they were 13 hours ahead of us. So, it's just, you couldn't have written it any better. All right. So before we bring Kyle on, I'm actually going to save the segment for the second half after the commercial break, because I want to see how long or how many of you guys actually stick around to see. You already know the legendary interviews that we do on the streets of Philly, asking people the questions that you need the answers to. So we're going to save that for the second half of the episode. But you already know first what we got to do. We got to do the positive affirmations for today. I actually picked a random page in this book, and it's number 99. So if number 99 is your angel number, or if you like the number 99, that's your good luck number, there you go. I picked it for you. So here we go. I protect my happiness. My happiness is sacred to me. To protect it from energetic interference, I call upon an impenetrable healing white light to encompass my energy field. May this light protect me while I amplify my joy from within. May I always have this blessing of light from now on. And I thought this was right on point from where we all every time that I read that, it's for somebody to hear, and it's actually right on point with our theme for today, because Kyle loves to talk about energy fields, and he loves to capture them through the art of photography and videography. So we got a lot of stuff that we need to talk about in such a short amount of time. So you guys, I hope you're ready, because this is about to be such a fire episode. Kyle, 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 what are you doing, man? It's time to stop taking pictures and get on the show. Kyle, what's going on?
Hey, brother, how you going?
Absolutely amazing, man. Let me tell you, man, thank you so much for messaging me at the time that you did. It was perfect timing. Is there any reason that, anything that inspired you to just reach out?
Mate, I loved your post that you had, reaching out to other people. I mean, you've got the weekly dose. In 2021, I did a daily dose, Decide Your Destiny daily dose video every single day of the year. So that's like I guess some sort of synergy there. And yeah, I just love your positivity. I mean, I can already see you got a bit of humor, you got a ton of fun, great energy, and yeah, it's just good to be around like-minded people on this planet. There's a lot of zombies out there. There's a lot of people, energy suckers. There's a lot of people you've got to be careful with your time with. And I think it's just good to go out there and meet great people.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, like I said, for actually reaching out, because little did you know at the time, this was meant for you, and this was meant for you to come on and to share into this amazing, beautiful energy that we just throw in. It's kind of like a big pot. We just keep throwing it, and then we send it off into the universe, and you already know we're going to receive that right back. So how do you pronounce your last name, by the way?
Spyrides.
Okay, because I was gonna say the obvious, Spyrides, but I was like, that's too easy. I know it's not gonna be like that. So Kyle Spyrides for everybody. Kyle, give a little bit of a background about yourself for the crew that's watching, right? For the positivity posse that's watching right now.
Positivity posse, I love it, mate. You are an entertainer. It's brilliant. So myself, I'm not as much of an entertainer as yourself, but I'm usually behind the camera, taking photographs of people, capturing portraits. I work with lots of business owners, so entrepreneurs, and through that, working through business owners, it's really given me a lot of knowledge and excitement and energy and ideas around business and grow my own businesses. So yeah, my main focus is capturing the heart and soul behind the business owner, so capturing the essence, who they are, and I believe, I did this with my grandparents, I believe if you sit with someone long enough, you give them enough time, you ask them enough questions, bit by bit, layer by layer, they start to reveal themselves. And there's a moment, I truly believe, where they actually go into their soul. They go deep within themselves. They forget the cameras there. They forget the environment. They forget why they're doing anything. And they go within themselves. And in that moment, you have a split second to capture a photograph, which captures their essence, captures their soul. So that's what I love doing. That's what I've done for years. I did it with my grandparents. I grew up with my grandparents. They came into a point in my life where I had nowhere to go, and they were there. So they were angels, really. I had angels in my life. I was so lucky. And yeah, I've just kept doing that. And now I'm, I've got my own network. Like I said, after this, I'm heading to my own network that I've created, a group of business owners and personal growth, and writing a book as well. So yeah, quite a few different things happening.
That's awesome, man. And thank you so much for, like I said, I'm you don't know how grateful I am just for you being here right now. That story, we're going to talk about what I think is kind of like the important components in that. Because, you can go in any direction. You can go, okay, well, let's talk about shutter speed. Let's talk about aspect ratio. We don't want to talk about none of the technical stuff, because you can always go to a course and learn about that. We want to talk about the meat and the potatoes and the gooey, the nice warm stuff that we come to talk about. So did you always know that photography was like your passion and that's always what you wanted to do? Or how did you find that was what you wanted to do?
No, man. Yeah, I didn't know photography was going to be my passion. I had no idea, for most of my life. I wanted to be a professional rugby player. I wanted to go back to South Africa. I was born in South Africa, Johannesburg. A lot of my family are still over there, and I would go over there every couple of years. And I was very inspired by the Springboks, the South African rugby team. And, I was so inspired. I just had this idea that I was going to rise to the ranks in Australia and eventually go over there and play rugby for the Springboks, And so that was my big, big dream. And then about 2 months after I left school, life intervened. I got really sick, got put into an induced coma, nearly died, had this huge illness. And then I spent 6 weeks in hospital trying to work out a way to actually get better. I had someone intervene in my life, someone give me an option. So there's this thing that you can try and do, the alkaline diet, to heal yourself naturally and try and get rid of this thing that's getting your body. Otherwise, you have to go through the surgical route, which means at that time, which meant cutting a big chunk of my organ off, and then me having my life impaired pretty badly for the rest of my life. And that was 18. So that was 2 months after school. So when you talk about dreams and visions and where you want to go, you know, so you think after school, you're like, okay, the world's my oyster. Where do I go? I kind of had the opposite. I kind of had this sort of, this resilience test, you know, this test to kind of go deep within myself, go into my heart and soul and pull out whatever strength I had, whatever integrity I had, like really be cut down to size, cut down to nothing, and try and build myself back up, which I'm so grateful for now. At the time, it was hell, as it is when anyone's going through big challenges. But I'm so grateful for that experience now. And then after that, you know, because of all of that, and I eventually had surgery, but it was much lesser surgery because I got rid of the bug naturally. I eventually, you know, I couldn't really play rugby anymore. I couldn't have that, you know, that dream was taken away. And man, I'll tell you, when you've got a dream, like if you're an intense person, you know, or you're a passionate person, you know, I think everyone can be a passionate person, but when you've got that passionate vision of, I'm going to play rugby for the Springboks and I'm going to do it for, you know, my family members in South Africa who passed away and all this sort of stuff, you've got all those dreams and everything attached to it. And then when it's taken away, man, like when I was in hospital, I would wake up in the middle of the night in sweats, you know, because I was playing rugby. I was living my dream, but then in reality, I was waking up and I had, you know, drips in my arm and all this sort of stuff. So, you know, it's very, very real and raw and confrontational. And it was the contrast of my dreams and my reality. And I think that's something that we're always kind of struggling with, or we're trying to achieve. You know, we've got our dreams and then we've got our reality. And we're trying to bring those two things closer and closer into alignment. So for me, after the whole health thing, I went to Europe, had a bit of, you know, lived a little bit because I nearly had no chance of living. So I lived a little bit and I came back, and then I just got interested in taking photos. I don't know why. I was taking photographs on the west coast of Ireland while I was in Europe, staying with my stepfather and just going out every day, just taking photographs of the surfers. And I don't know why I was doing it, but there was something that was pulling me to it. So it was a natural progression. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, stepfather said, why don't you do photography as a career? And, you know, my kind of indoctrinated mind so far went, what do you mean? I can't do that as a career. What are you talking about? I can't do that. You know, like as a job. Are you serious? And he's like, yeah, what about your uncle? And this shows you how indoctrinated you are, like coming out of school and all that sort of stuff. And it was just like, oh yeah, that's right. My uncle's a freaking famous photographer, photographs for the Australian rugby team. You know, did photographs with Christopher Walken, all these sorts of, you know, these big jobs, you know. And so I went back, did an apprenticeship with him, studied photography, and then that's how I got into it. Really, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean the amount of resiliency that you've had in that story is absolutely, you know, you don't hear about this type of stuff every day, you know, kind of hear about all the negative stuff, but what about these stories so, you know, when you come on, and thank you for being so transparent, because I know that may not be the easiest thing to talk about, but hey, it's what you lived through, it's your life. So thank you for being unfiltered. And, you know, another thing too is, and this is kind of going into like the philosophy, you know, philosophic ideas, but some people say that, you know, the dreams are the real world and what we're experiencing right now may be the dream, you know? So
the Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. So like I said, thank you so much for being so transparent. And you had a couple of reactions on here too, because that story is super powerful. So, you know, thank you for being here again today. Now, let's talk about the you know, the dimension behind the camera, right? So with everything that you've experienced, I'm pretty sure that you have a different view of the world than, you know, maybe, I don't want to call him a standard photographer because everybody has a story to share, but, you know, you have your own spin on things. And one of the comments or one of the strategies that you like to do is you like to unlock and, you know, also bring out or evoke the human essence in each, or I guess the topic or the person that you're photographing or you're taking a picture of.
Yeah.
What are some of the strategies that you do to actually bring that out of somebody? Because I know when I've had some of the guests on the show, I mean, just trying to get a question out of them or an answer out of them is kind of like pulling teeth. So when
Yeah.
you're with somebody for a few hours, what are some of the techniques and strategies that you use in order to bring out the human essence in somebody?
Yeah, man, 100%. So, what you're trying to do there, like, when you've got guests or when you've got someone in front of you, you're trying to extract the true them. And, we're talking about, it's great because we're talking about dreams and reality and what's the real thing. And you're trying to extract the true them, because we all put on this facade, we put on this face, we kind of put on this mask of who we are, who we think we've got to be, like our own sandbox of belief systems of I come into the scene, I've got to be like this, I've got to act like this, be professional like this. That, we've got our own sort of rigid ways, and I think in the current world, a lot of those ways are kind of breaking apart, and we're trying to discover our own ways. But a lot of people come, to you with that. And so one of the things with photography and business photography, a lot of people are business owners. They do an incredible job in their bookkeeping, in their accounting, as a lawyer behind the scenes. However, they don't do an incredible job of content, which is what we're doing. They don't do an incredible job of getting in front of the camera, of bringing stories together and finding a way of capturing that so that it's it's inspiring. So that's what I have to do as a photographer. What you have to do on your end, you have to pull that out of them and pull the qualities and the good things out of them. And so, I obviously start with a questionnaire. I really go and have a meeting with them. I try and find out things about them. So, for instance, I had a lawyer recently, and instead of just taking a corporate headshot, white background, bang, big smile, you're professional. I'd ask more questions. I wanted to find out. I asked a question. I said, what are some of the things that you're doing to plug some of the social holes in society that go left unplugged or ignored or forgotten? And she told me that she actually helps out with invisible homelessness. And I didn't quite know what she meant by that. I said, what's that? And she said, well, it's women who have had a husband or a partner, and they've been the main breadwinner and the financial, have set up all the finances in their life, and that person passes away or something happens, and then they're left in the lurch, and they're like homeless, but they're couch surfing, in a way, or they're going into women's shelters. And I was just like, oh, okay, that's great. That's what we're capturing. Like, what do you do? I kept diving deeper into that. So I found a little bit of gold, and then like a miner, I digged and digged and digged. And I found, okay, yeah, no, I go and speak at homeless shelters. I actually do this. I've got this other charity project that I'm working on. I'm like, great, these are the things that we need to photograph, so that when you're on your website talking about these things, they can actually see the real you. They can see the heart of you. People don't want that thing. I'm going to get a lawyer. They're going to charge me $500 an hour. They're probably not even going to help me out. Blah blah blah. They want to see, oh my gosh, I need a lawyer who's going to be in my corner when I go to battle against this person, this company, this whatever. I need someone in my corner. This lady looks like she's loyal. She's committed. She's going to be my lieutenant. And so that's the sort of thing with photography, is finding the gold, in your story. And that's where I say that instead of a photographer, I say I'm more of a visual storyteller. I love capturing the story. And in terms of some quick bullet point tips of how you can get that out. So if I've got a client in front of me, and man, it's one of the things, if you go into it too much, you can get really, you can get down, because everyone that comes to you, you just realize we're all so hard on ourself, our physical self, our looks. Everyone is like so heavy on themselves, and and it's like, oh my gosh, you don't need any hater. You've got 2,000 haters surrounding you right now in your own mind. It's incredible. Yeah. So I sort of pull that back. You can't get a good photograph if someone's just down on themselves. So I try and bring joy into it. And one of the things I do is I might do self-deprecating humor. So if they make a joke like, oh my God, for women, they might go, oh, it's so hot and I'm melting, all my makeup's melting off. And I'm like, oh, my nose gets bigger in the sun or something, my big Greek nose or something. And I go, oh, this big schnoz, or, just some deprecating humor just to bring the mood down and connect more. And it's just about breaking those layers down so they start to feel comfortable. And I don't spend a lot of time with the camera here, man. I spend a lot of time like this, and every so often I go and take a photograph. So I ask them questions, and then say if they're really struggling with the photographs and feeling nervous, I go to their why. I say, so why are you doing this? Like what inspired you to do this? Oh, I need to get photographs for my website. Okay, but why? Like why? Oh, because I was told. Okay, but why were you told that? Oh, because I want to grow my business. Okay, so why do you want to grow your business?
Why do you want to grow your business? Yeah.
I want to serve more people. Oh, why do you want to serve more people? Oh, well, I think these people have a problem, and I actually think I've got something to give. Wow, shit, isn't that beautiful? And so you just like dig deeper and you pull that out, and you're really pulling the human out rather than all the kind of facade or all the critical nature or all the reflection of society, as the human shows up.
Yeah. And the hardest part about that is, let's say if you have a client, right, that's 40 years old. Not saying that 40 is bad or anything for anybody watching out there. 40 is a beautiful age. But
Yes.
you're trying to, let's say you have an hour session with the person, which I know you have more than an hour because you're actually taking the time to get to know them. But let's just say for just a fair argument, you're there for an hour. That person has to unlearn and let down their guard after everything that they've been through for 40 years. And what you're doing is a talent, because in order to make somebody feel comfortable in the span of an hour, that's one of the hardest things to do. And to make somebody feel comfortable, I think, is one of the hardest things to do in the world, because a lot of people have these, preconceived like notions. Oh, I'm only doing this for a picture. Just take the picture and get out. What does this person want from me? I mean, obviously, for you, they just want to you just want to help them out and grow their business. But I commend you for that, because that's one of the hardest things to do. Now, this part is what I really want to know, and I think everybody really wants to know.
Yeah, man.
When you see that gold moment, right? What is it that you see? Is it always the same in every person, whether they're male, female, and everything in between, whether they're black, white, Spanish, whatever it may be? What are some of the things that you see that you're like, this is it? I finally see what their human essence is.
Yeah, man. So it's a process, like everything. You're taking multiple photographs, you're moving in different angles, you're, like I said, you're communicating with them, self-deprecating humor, asking them things, even like something like a locational, getting them to be like present. So, hey, look at that bench. Okay, look at that cup. Okay, look at that wall. Okay, different sort of things. So you're trying lots of different things. You've got this army like bunker, and you're trying lots of different ways to try and break into it. So when you get that photograph, you when you capture it, because you just go, wow, there's something powerful. There's like it's kind of like there's an energy conduction, in that moment. It's kind of like the wind starts to get still, all those sorts of things. Like it just comes together. The person is there fully in their presence. And I think that's what it is, to be honest. They're kind of off. I've got a meeting later. I've got this, these emails to get to. Oh, I hate having my photograph. I'm so ugly, blah, 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 all these sorts of things. And then when you get that photograph, it's just them, bang, present. They're present in that moment. They're looking you right down the barrel, and they're allowing you to look right into their soul. And that's when you capture the moment, man. And that's where, I had a lady who was, to use an example, she was a psychologist for many years, counselor, and then she was mixing psychology and fitness, for elderly people, making sure that the fitness helps them so that they don't get Alzheimer's. And she was doing a great job. And she, incredible business, but she had which so many of us, so many people had such a confidence lacking. And her confidence was lacking so much because her brother was into photography his whole life and said that she just doesn't take good photographs and that she just doesn't look good in photographs. And she's like, I haven't had a good photograph taken of me. I think she was in her mid-60s, right? So starting this whole new business, this whole new venture. When I took that photograph of her and I showed her, she was in tears. She was like overjoyed. She just couldn't believe that she could have a photograph that was so powerful and so beautiful and stated who she was, standing in her own power and her own light. And that's the thing, it when you see it. It's one of those things, it when you see it, but it's something that's so powerful for someone. Yeah.
Definitely. And I don't even know if you've noticed it. And I promise you, I've been still the whole time. I saw this flashing, and it might do it, it might not do it, but just the fact that you're talking about energy, and when you said, when you see it, you know what it is. When you were speaking about that energy and just being in that present moment, I saw the gold flash. And that's just a testament, not just to say, oh, well, there's my name. No, of course not. It's to show that the stuff that, to me, it shows that everything that you're talking about is right on point, and just the fact that you're able to recognize that energy is it's really a hard skill to have, because I know not everybody believes in that, in energy, even though it's scientifically proven that it's there. But not everybody believes in it, so it's just the fact that you're able to help somebody believe in the energy and then believe in themselves with that 60-year-old lady. I mean, imagine for 60 years that you were living one way, and then just in one picture you were able to change that. I mean, that's incredible, man. So I tip my hat off to you. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but we're halfway through the segment right now. I have to play a few commercials just to get a word in from our sponsors for the show. And when we come back, we're gonna have to play the street interviews that we have. And I want to know your answer when we come back from the street interview as well, to see. I want to hear what your answer is when we come back. So don't go anywhere. We just got to play a few commercials from our sponsors. Share this content. I mean, Kyle came on today. He's dropping golden nuggets for you guys. And thank you for giving us a chance to see what you see in your career and to give us a glimpse into your life, even though, usually you're behind the camera. But today you're in front of the camera and we're getting a glimpse into your soul. So thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. So everybody, that was just a quick word from our sponsors. Thank you for the sponsors for sponsoring the Weekly Dose of Dano and making all of this possible as well for everybody watching right here. Now, Kyle, I'm going to ask you the question that we're going to play in the clip coming up. If there's one thing that you – wait. Yes. All right. That was the question. Sorry. I didn't want to get it confused with last week's question. If there's one thing that you can change about this world, Kyle, what would it be?
I would say I would want everyone to look deep within their heart, within their soul, work out what those things are. We're talking about energy. We're talking about all these energy transfers, money, communication, advertising, networking, podcasting, photography, all these different things, your business, what you do, it's all energy transfer. You look at someone like Jesus Christ, whatever you believe about him, he's a household name. Why? He was transferring so much energy. He was pouring so much out into the world. He was giving. If you want to look at it in a business way, he was a master networker, master promoter, master marketing, specialist. But he was giving. He was pouring that energy out. So if we look at it from that place, we look at it from we go into our heart and soul, and we look at it from I'm giving energy, I'm receiving energy. this is what I'm transferring, whether you call it a dollar, whether you call it a collaboration, whatever it is, that's what I'm doing. And when you focus on that, then you can get away from all the other minutiae and all the other, I guess, mechanical elements that take us away from our heart and soul and make us, dive deep into not so great acts, not very positive sort of ways of transferring energy. So I think if you really get to the heart and soul of the matter of why you're doing what you're doing, you think about your legacy, you think about, and if you look at your soul and what you do on this earth right now, if you look at it as whatever I do right now is not just important for this lifetime, but it's important for the integrity and the character of my soul forever, for eternity. If you look at your being as that, then I think that's what I would invite you to do.
Speaking of facts right now, Kyle, that's what I'm talking about. I can tell you right now, no answer is even going to come close to that from the people that we found on the street. But to be fair, I guess when I run into these people, they don't know me from a can of paint on the street, so they might not want to get into all of that, great content and the facts that you were speaking right there, Kyle. So I can tell you right now, your answer is my favorite, and I'm not even going to be biased either because, some of the answers that you saw on here or that you're about to see don't even come close to that. And I kind of want to talk about that idea of, having this soul for multiple lifetimes at a time. But we got to watch the clip first. And when we come back, I can't wait to hear about that. So let me know what your answer is to that same exact question. If there's one thing that you can change about this world, what would it be? And here are some of the answers that we heard from people on the street. Let's get it.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dano, television show host of Weekly Dose of Dano TV, and you already know what we're doing for today. We're going around the streets of Philly, asking everybody the questions that you need the answers to. Let's get it. Sir, what's your name?
My name is Ja Fear. People call me Ja or Fear.
If there's something about this world that you can change, what would it be?
Man, I would say that the biggest thing, in order to change the world, you gotta change yourself first. Michael Jackson said you gotta start with the man in the mirror. I would say being an inspiration to everybody, the youth, the young kids, just people in general. I would say just using my story and my life as a vessel for Christ to make a difference, man. It's just so many things we can do and we can inspire and make change, but it starts for ourselves. I say life is 10% what happens to you, 90% you react to it. Let's look at positivity. Fuck all the negativity. It's about positivity, baby. We live once. Let's make it the most. Let's make the most of it. It's amazing. It's an amazing game. Let's make this thing happen, man. I got so much to say.
Yeah, I know. I can see it. I can feel the energy right now, man. That's what I'm talking about. What's your name, miss?
Ed Smith.
If there was one thing that you can change about this world, what would it be?
I think it should be more love. I wish that prejudice and racism didn't exist. That would be the thing I would change.
What's your name, miss?
Sarah.
If there was one thing about this world that you can change, what would it be?
I would do away with global warming.
No global warming.
No global warming.
Sir, what's your name?
Felix.
Felix, if there's anything that you could change about this world, what would it be?
The way I grew up, support. I wish I grew up with more support. I think that's something that kids that's growing up now need.
Sir, what's your name?
My name's John.
If there's one thing that you can change about this world, what would it be?
Ooh, just one? People don't seem to be connecting with each other like they used to, and I'm sure there's a lot of reasons for that, but I think even little stuff like holding the door open for someone behind you, or holding when the train's coming through, swiping somebody, that kind of stuff, to me I feel like that's such a small sense of community that I feel like now everyone's just kind of in a rush. They gotta get where they gotta get, and kind of fuck all the people around me, I gotta do what I gotta do. And maybe that's just me because I didn't grow up in the city, but I definitely feel that sometimes in the city that it's these little everyone's focusing on what they gotta do and not thinking about the other people around them.
So let me know what you guys think in the answer section, in the comment section below, because I want to hear if you could change one thing about this world, what would it be? Kyle, I know that I know that was my microphone. I don't know if you guys can still hear me, but here you go.
You're good.
All right, we're all good. All right. I know that I said that I wanted to talk about the soul and going on for lifetimes and lifetimes, but I don't think people are ready for that conversation. So there were a few words that you told me, and do you still have time? Because I know we're limited on time for you for today.
Yeah, no, I've got a couple minutes.
All right, cool. So There were 3 words that you told me about, and I want you to talk about the significance behind these words and what they mean to you and how they really help shape your life. Decide your destiny. Talk about that phrase and what it means to you.
Oh man, where do I start? So the story or where that came from was my grandfather, and so I was displaced from home at the age of 14, and I had nowhere to go, and I went to my grandparents, my Australian grandparents. Wasn't related to them at all, but I went to my Australian grandparents, and they welcomed me. And they gave me, like an opportunity, and they raised me. So they pretty much became my parents. And so from about 14, until 24, I lived with them. And at the age of 18, I was sitting in a lounge room, and my grandfather, he's an architect, so he designed this house. It was very kind of new age for that time, and it was like European sort of look, and it had lots of windows. So the house wasn't necessarily big, but because of all the window space, it seemed like it was a lot bigger. So we're just sitting out in the lounge room, and he turned to me, and the sun was kissing the side of his face, and he just had this big boyish grin on his face. And he was looking at me, and he just said to me, he just said 3 words. He said, "Decide your destiny." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Decide your destiny." And I said, "What are you talking about, Clive?" Because we weren't talking about anything. It was just I guess maybe a random moment or a rare moment for our times now. We were just sitting presently in the couch, just kind of sitting down. And he just looked at me and just said, "Decide destiny. Make sure whatever you do in your life, that you decide your destiny." And like we said, like 2 months later, I went into an induced coma, nearly died, and then a year later, I nearly died again. So I nearly died multiple times. I had this whole heavy period of my life. And I look back years and years later, and those 3 letters that he said kind of rang in my ear again. And I could look back, and you can always look back at your life. And when you're looking where you want to go, you can join the dots looking backwards. I think it was, who said that? I think it was Steve Jobs said it. You join the dots looking backwards. And looking backwards, I went, wow, I actually decided my destiny. There were moments in my life where I decided my destiny. I became the authority over my own life, and I wasn't pulled and swayed and twisted, in a relationship and whatever it was. I kind of decided it. And so that really inspired me. And I went, there's something here. There's something important here. There's a message here. And my grandfather ended up passing away in 2019. Went over there, held his hand when he passed away. One of the most beautiful and hard, but one of the most beautiful moments ever is actually being with a loved one, being with someone and watching them pass. And it really puts what you're doing and who you are and gets your soul out of your body and in front of you to face like nothing else. So, he passed away, and I came back so he's on Sydney on the east coast of Australia. I came back to Perth, the west coast of Australia. And I was sitting in my room one day, and I was just in this deep prayer. I was just in this moment of just kind of asking God, Jesus, the ether, energy source, whatever you want to call it. I just was in this deep prayer, and I just said, look, I've nearly died multiple times. Not afraid of death. Not afraid of social disapproval. Not afraid of mean words. Not afraid of anything. Like all I want is I just want to be on path for my soul whilst I'm on this earth now. I want to get there. I don't want to get there in 20 years. I don't want to make a handful more of mistakes. I want to get on path. And then out of the darkness, while I was doing prayer, this book came out, and it was, it said, I got this message like, write your story, write about your story, write about your life. And that's when I started writing the book, Decide Your Destiny. And then from that developed into a daily dose, Decide Your Destiny daily dose every day, just a 3 to 5 minute inspirational message, got different people on, and that's where it's developed from. So yeah, that's the message that was passed down to me from someone else and he spent his whole life deciding his destiny. I remember asking him one day, and he said, "Kyle, I haven't worked a day in my life." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I love what I did. I love drawing. I loved, everything about architecture. I absolutely cherished it. And that's why I did it. That's why I'd get up at 4 a.m., go to bed at midnight, get up at 4 a.m., be a professor and also have my own business, all these sort of things, just to make it for his obligations, for his family, for his responsibilities, but also for the love of what he was doing."
Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank you so much for giving us the answer. So, it was meant to be in that point in moment. And like you said, you were meant to have these family members around. And I could tell you painted the picture. you do an excellent job at what you say you are, a visual storyteller. Because I envision myself being in that moment when the light was hitting his face, and just him saying those words. But and the way that I heard it was like a real deep voice, like somebody with man of wisdom, and just really, you have the capacity to do whatever you want. Whether you want to be a garbage man or you want to be a professional, photographer, whatever the case may be, you want to be on TV, you can do it. And I firmly resonate with that too, because that's what we talk about here on the Weekly Dose of Dano show. I mean, we have so many people that come on from all different places in the world with all different types of backgrounds, but the lessons are always the same. And you always learn something new from everybody, of course, because not everybody has the same ideas, views, every belief system that you have. But when you have these people that are saying the same things over and over again, that's what I really want everybody to believe, is that you really can achieve whatever it is that you want. Decide your destiny, man. And you have to go right at this moment.
Yeah, look, I've got a minute or two. I've got a minute or two.
Well, listen, I want you to talk about, where can people purchase the book? Is it finished yet? Right here, I'm also going to share with everybody your website as well, because some of the pictures on here that I saw are, man, absolutely amazing. And this is my favorite one on the website. Right there. No, but seriously, when we go to the top, I mean, this is the first picture that you see, and I see exactly what it is that you're talking about when you're capturing these pictures. I mean, wow, you want to talk about powerful. All of this stuff is absolutely amazing. So talk a little bit about your website, where people can reach you at, and a little bit about your book as well.
Yeah, man. So, you can reach me on, I've got my own YouTube, Decide Your Destiny, and Kyle Spyrides on kylespyrides.com. That's where the book is. It's also the same URL goes to decideyordestinybook.com.au. And so that's where the book is for pre-order. So you can pre-order the book at the moment. And yeah, I've got my own podcast, Decide Your Destiny, and different sort of things that I'm kind of growing at the moment. But yeah, reach out to me if you've got any questions, if you want to connect. I'm up for all of that. So please do. And man, I'm going to definitely connect with you, and I'd love to be on down the track again. And yeah, I think we can talk about many things anyway.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this is only scratching the surface of everything that we have to, share with the world. And if there's anything that you ever needed from me or the Positivity Posse, all you got to do is reach out to us. Look, you even got people from the few minutes, 1 or 2 minutes that I showed, that great photos. They tell a story. Love it. Yeah, so just reach out to us too, because you already know we love to be of service here on the Weekly Dose of Dano television network, television station, not network. One day it'll be a network, but television station. So Kyle, thank you so much for coming on today, sharing your story, sharing your messages, being transparent. And I'm going to let you know right now, we need a part 2. So you're going to come back and share more about your message and more about everything that you've gone through in your life, and how you take all of these things. Like you said, you had a heavy period in your life, and when you're dealing with other people, they're heavy periods, but always putting that positive twist on it and that positive spin, because you already know that's what makes the world go round. And you kind of need to have that balance. What's good without bad? You know what I mean? What's clean without dirty? So
yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much for everything, Kyle. You are amazing. I'm going to say that 10 times over. You are amazing, and keep changing lives. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day, because you're just getting started over there, right?
Yeah, just getting started. About to go to an event now. So thank you, man.
Right,
I appreciate you having me on. Thank you, brother. Keep doing it, and you're doing an amazing job, and we're going to catch up soon.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Kyle. We all appreciate it. Have a great day. Oh, man, what'd you guys think? I thought that his stories, I don't even know. I forgot to ask him how old he is, because he has like the soul of like the 60-year-old man and a wisdom, but on the screen, he looks like he's my age. He looks like he's about 25. So, man, that was absolutely amazing. Just the stuff that we talked about. Like I said, this was supposed to be his slot today, and I'm so happy. Thank you, universe, that we were able to make it all happen for today. And that was absolutely amazing. Like I said, that was awesome. So I actually want to talk about an experience that it happens to me quite often, and I don't understand why people do this. And maybe you guys can, fill me in on some ideas as to why people do the thing that I'm about to say to you right now. And this happened to me literally today, and I'm just so confused. So maybe you could shed some light for me. So whenever I'm talking to people, right? Obviously, everybody knows that that I'm good friends with, or that I even talk to. I always bring up, hey, I have a television show, Weekly Dose of Dano TV, and I have the best supporters in the world with the Positivity Posse, right? And that's usually what I talk about, right? And not every single time. Sorry, that comment distracted me because this is so true. Humble individual. Can't wait for part 2. He didn't even talk about his own energy. 100%. He talked about everybody else when it came to his experiences. Yeah, he shared his perspective, but you're 100% right. He didn't even talk about his own energy. So that's it, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'm all about positivity, and I'm all about, helping other people understand and unlock their potential, and to show that everybody is capable to achieve anything that they want in their life, right? So today, somebody shared with me a story, right? And the story was pretty grim. Their friend got some bad news that I was talking to them about, right? So I was like, wow, like, that I'm sorry to hear that. And that was it. Or I don't even think I said that. I think I said sorry, because when it comes to me, I like to protect my energy field. If somebody's energetically dumping on me, I really don't take that too well, because I like to say, hey, well, I like to protect myself. And if you want to talk about something that's going on in your life, or some positive things that you're going on, or even if you need some words of encouragement, like, tell me about the story, and I'll give you my perspective on it. Or even, I don't even have to give you my answer. If you need an ear to listen to, I'm always here for you. So I think I said sorry to the topic that the person was talking to me about. And I guess they didn't like my answer. So they start going off on me, and they say, oh, I thought you're all about positivity. You say that you're about positivity, but then you give me that answer. And for some reason, when I tell people I'm about positivity and they don't get an answer that they want, they think that, like, I'm supposed to be like this perfect being. And I want to know if you guys have ever experienced anything like that, because this has happened on multiple occasions. Like, just because I didn't give you an answer that you were looking for or were expecting, that's why we should drop our expectations. Why is it that you equate me to like this perfect being, or I'm supposed to give the right answer at the right moment at all times? And I sit back and I think about it, and I'm just like, well, first and foremost, I'm always going to be me. And as you guys should always be you as well. Like, never change yourself for anybody in this world. I don't care if you have the most amazing opportunity at hand and they want you to act a certain type of way. And they say, hey, well, listen, you need to be X, Y, Z. And if you don't meet that description, so what? I mean, always be yourself. Don't let anybody else try to guilt trip you to for you being who you are. I mean, always, you got to be, always have that good intention, and always make sure that you have that positive energy within you. But don't ever change yourself for anybody in this world. I don't care if you have the greatest opportunity in the world. I don't care if you got the hottest girl in front of you. She says, yo, if you act like this, then I'll be with you. I don't care if you have the hottest guy in the world. If you're in the guys and they're just like, well, I thought you were going to be this way. And, especially for women, in my opinion, that means, like, I feel like when women start to really act themselves and they start to speak their mind, then it's taken as a perceived way. Oh, she's a B, or they're this way and that way. Yeah. So my point in all of this is to say, don't ever change who you are. And you should always be yourself in every scenario, in every situation. And if somebody's trying to guilt trip you for that, then you need to evaluate who you're talking to. And you need to evaluate if that person is going to be around very long in your life. Because if somebody's shaming you for being you, then they're not truly accepting you of who you really are. And if you can't be comfortable in your own skin around that person, and you have to put up this facade, kind of like earlier what Kyle was talking about, then I don't think these are the type of people that you want inside your life. So, let me know if that's ever happened to you, where, people say, oh, well, I thought you were supposed to be positive, or I thought you were supposed to be X, Y, and Z. No, don't limit me to that spot, because I am a human being. Of course, nobody's perfect. But, I kind of wanted to hear about all of your stuff. Don't be an ad. My man Rasta in the building. Rasta was actually on the show as well. And, when Rasta comes to talk, he's talking about that real talk. Don't be an ass. Stop assuming. I know it's really assuming, but I wanted to do that play on words. 100%, because we all know that if you're assuming, you're going to make an ass out of yourself. And there it is. Thank you, Rasta, for that answer. You don't have to prove why you want to protect your energy. They can come to you when they are positive. Two negatives can't help each other out. You can only help them when you are positive and not negative. 100%. That's kind of like trying to help the world, develop their finances, or you trying to help everybody become rich, but yourself, you're poor. I mean, you can't go around helping everybody if you don't have that stuff in your situation as well. And 100%, if this person is negative and I'm trying to be positive, it's not going to work out. So, that's always a strategy too. You can take a step back and say, listen, I really don't want to talk about this right now. Come back at a later time when I'm ready mentally for it, or you're ready mentally for it. And our energies, and you're coming in it with an open mind. And the energies necessarily don't even have to match exactly, because not everybody's going to agree on everything. But you have to make sure that they're at least willing to have an open mind at the very minimum. David Vardaman right here, my guy, who was also on the show, part of the Positivity Posse, always coming in week in and week out. Thank you so much, David, for your support. So let's see what David had to say, because David be spitting some facts too. Don't get it twisted. All right. People sometimes misinterpret one's intentions to meet their own agenda. It is not you. It is often their own insecurities. This can is actually black as well, but I'm drinking sparkling water. 100%. And I want to touch on this chat on this part too. It is often their own insecurities, because then after I gave them the answer, like I said, they started going off on me. They said, well, you're supposed to be this way, which I'm really not. I'm going to be who I am no matter what the situation is. And if I hit a chord, right, that 100%, then you have to deal with that on your own. Don't project onto me the way that I need to be, because I'm not going to change for anybody. And this is 100% facts, because everything that people say and everything that people do, this is a golden nugget right here. Make sure you got your pen. Make sure you write this down. And this should be a positive affirmation for you guys too. Everything that people say and everything that people do, sorry, this sparkling water has me wanting to burp. Everything that people say and do is ultimately a reflection of themselves. And this can be found in actually one of the books that I read. It was The 4 Agreements. They use the example, right, where let's say you're going down the street, you're walking down, minding your own business, and a person walks up to you. It can be a complete stranger, and they say, hey, well, I think you're stupid. If you actually feed into that and you believe within yourself that, there might be a small percentage that you may think that you're stupid, you're going to lash out. You're going to say, nah, you're going to get into an altercation, and that's not what we want to do. So ultimately, that person is probably walking down the street thinking about that about themselves, and they want other people to accompany them in their dark times as well. You know what they say, misery loves company. So if somebody's walking down the street saying that, ultimately they think about it. They think that way about themselves, because when people speak, it's a projection of what they think and what their ideas are, right? So David, thank you for putting that into perspective for me. 100%. People don't realize when they call you, they dump you on their negativity. That's not healthy. Exactly. Understand that how others judge me is about them. Mirror up. Exactly. And I'm so glad that you guys are able to talk about your ideas and talk about your perspectives, because like I said, that happened to me. And I was thinking, does this ever happen to anybody else that's in the Positivity Posse? And I'm pretty sure it does. Maybe not exactly in the same capacity, but along the lines where somebody tries to dump on you. Let's broaden it. Yeah, somebody wants to dump on you, and you don't really have time for that. You don't want to deal with that, and always make sure that you're secure in everything that you're doing, and make sure that you're doing it with passion. And I'm going to say it again. I sound like a broken record, but I really don't care. Always, always, always be your true, authentic self, and never, ever change for anybody, because if that person can't accept you for who you are, then they probably shouldn't be around in your life anyway to begin with. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here for today. That's all the time that we have on this amazing episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. thank you so much for the Positivity Posse, for rocking with me today, for leaving the comments, leaving your ideas, leaving your answers, anything to share the post, from liking the post. All of that stuff really helps when it comes to the analytics for the show and just getting the word out there. I mean, all of this stuff, the real purpose on why we're having the Weekly Dose of Dano TV show is so everybody can come together, and it creates an environment where everybody can come and share their ideas without being judged, and just to listen to other people's story, whether the guest might be on, right? And they may have gone through the same exact thing that you have gone through in your life. And it shows that you aren't alone, and that you really are, one, that you aren't alone. And two, I don't really like to compare, but let's say somebody had, Kyle for today, you think that he had it harder than you had, or he may even had it better than you had in your experience, then it shows that you're not alone, and that you can really fight through anything that this world throws at you. I mean, obviously, besides the ultimate one, death, but anything that doesn't kill you really does make you stronger. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Next week, we have Wally Green coming on the show for part 2. He's going to talk about, the reason why he wasn't here today, but it was meant for Kyle. So thank you, everybody, for being here for today. I hope you all have a great weekend. Make sure that when you go about your week, always, always, always write down your intentions for the day. Make sure that you're having a great day, and don't let anybody break you down, and don't give others the opportunity, and don't give them the power to break you down. Thank you guys for being here today, and I'll see you next week for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano. Peace.